before, my name is Leslie, and today I'd like to review one of my most anticipated releases of 2018, and that is Escaping from Houdini by Kerri Maniscalco. I received this arc from Julie at Hatchet Book Group for an honest review, and I wanted to express my sincere gratitude for sending me this paperback edition because I am such a big fan of the Stalk and Jack the Ripper series, and I really did not expect to get it once I requested it. I went out on a limb, requested it, and she was such a pleasure to work with. And so, yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to read this. For those of you who don't know, this is the third novel in the Stalk and Jack the Ripper series, which comes out September 18th of this year. Escaping from Houdini takes place directly after hunting Prince Dracula, where Audrey, Rose, and Thomas are on a ship on their way to New York to solve yet another mystery. And while this trip is going to take 7 days, the guests are entertained each night while eating dinner by a traveling circus, which is made up of fortune tellers, a magician, a fire eater, an escape artist, and many more other performers. But then, privileged women start disappearing and winding up dead. But the way that these bodies are turning up leads to believe that the circus might be involved, and it is up to our favorite characters to solve this mystery, these murders, before the ship docks and the murderer escapes. If you follow my channel for a few months even, you know that I am a huge fan of this series. And whereas I still enjoyed this book very, very much, I have to be honest and admit that I didn't think it was quite as good as the first two. Like I said, I enjoyed it immensely. I don't think this series could ever go wrong for me, but there were quite a few details that bothered me. But first, let's talk about what I did like. Audrey, Rose, and Thomas together. Yay! I think they may very well be my favorite fictional couple ever. He is such an amazing character who lets her choose her own path, even if it ends up hurting him. But as much as I want to believe that a boy his age, and let's not forget he is 18 years old, would be such a mature young man with 0 ounce of jealousy in him, I have a hard time believing that, especially because of the situations that he finds himself in this novel. But we'll pass on that because the boy is supposed to be a genius. Also, let me warn you that this novel is very much more focused on their relationship than the previous novels were. In the previous novels, the mystery was always the very first priority, and then we had a little bit of their romance, getting to know each other. This book is very much focused on them. So that was a little surprising. And while investigating these murders, Audrey Rose finds herself questioning her feelings for Thomas, especially since a new character shamelessly tries to sweep her off her feet. And I was not down for that because, well, Thomas, I mean, he is my fictional crush. But it was very relatable and made her seem so real, especially since Thomas is the first boy she's ever really encountered and grown feelings for. So, of course, it would be human for her to question whether she wants to be with him or not. I didn't find the problem to be with Kerri Maniscalco's writing. It is actually the same style, constant throughout all 3 of her novels, unlike other series I've read like Echo Fast. Her style never changes. It is not really thought-provoking, but it is a fast and entertaining read. But here's what I had problems with. 1. Most of these bodies are found on stage during dinner time while the circus is performing in front of everybody, and yet people are still attending their shows. You've got bodies dangling from the ceiling, some of the audience gets stabbed, another body is found drowned on stage, and people still attend these shows. That made no sense to me. The audience doesn't start getting thinner until the 5th night, and that means 5 corpses have been found. And the author explains that the audience that remains throughout the last days are those who seek the darkness. Still, in real life, I think most people would have locked themselves in their cabins and avoided any risks from the get-go. No one wants to see such fucked up shit, and it is a very small detail, but it bothered me. 2. Audrey Rose is pretty close-minded in this novel, and she was so forward-thinking in the first 2, but But in this one, she's so black and white, and it is such a contradiction to who she was in the first two. On page 310, we see that she does not value dreams. Someone has to explain to her that dreams are just as important as hope and motivation. Coming from a girl who constantly hopes and dreams of escaping her family's expectations, it's just a little weird, and let me read you the passage. My grandfather taught me his best trick, he said. What did your grandfather teach you? He offered a smile. To dream. I drew my brows together. Yes, but was he also good at engineering? Surely that's more valuable in your business than a simple dream. The greatest trick of all is dreaming without limits. Everyone dreams, I said. There's no trick to it. She also doesn't see how entertainment is another form of helping people, much like medicine, and thinks using engineering skills as a form of entertainment is a waste of a talent. She had to be explained that entertainment and laughter is just as healing as medication and therefore just as important. And it really takes the scientist in her a really long while to admit that that is true. It's all just very much unlike the Audrey Rose that we read about in the first two novels. And lastly, what really bothered me, and please fast forward a little bit if you don't want to be spoiled. It's not a big spoil, but it is going to tell you that a suspect is not guilty. If you don't care, stick around. Are you ready? Okay, so in the first novel, based on the title, we know that we are pursuing Jack the Ripper. We know he's the villain. It's just a matter of finding out who it is. In the second novel, Hunting Prince Dracula, we don't expect Dracula to still be alive, but we know that someone is mimicking him and therefore is the villain, and it's just a matter of finding out who it is. In this third novel, I really hated that it is titled Escaping from Houdini, when Houdini actually has very little to do with this plot. We only see him a few times and he's not the villain. Like, why would you label your book that if it's not it? What I love the most about this series is that our main characters go after very famous villains, and in this case, it was not it. So that really annoyed me, and I guess it's really not that big of a deal. It's just another minor detail, but you know, it irked me a little bit. And so for these reasons, I am giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. 3.5 might make it sound like I didn't enjoy it, but I really did. It's just that there were a little bit too many details that bothered me. I do recommend you pick it up. It is a fun read. The series is not beautifully written like classics are, but it is a fun and entertaining read, and that is all I'm expecting out of these books. And I will be continuing on with the series whenever the next books come out. So that is my review of Escaping from Houdini. I am so happy to have read it. And please let me know if you plan on picking up this book. And thank you for watching. Please make sure to give me a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in my next one.